There is a surge of gerrymandering on both sides of the aisle. Several states are working to redraw congressional maps for House seats ahead of the 2022 midterms. Nevada has become the 15th state to finalize its congressional map for the next 10 years. The state's Democratic governor signed the plan into law Tuesday. The new map gives an edge to Democrats, but Republicans say it splits up and dilutes Latino neighborhoods. And in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott is being sued over redistricting. The Lone Star State's new map was approved last month. It gives an advantage to Republicans. A lawsuit filed in Texas claims the new map dilutes the voting power of minorities. And the Virginia Supreme Court has disqualified a Republican nominee selected to draw the state's new map. It ruled the man's previous paid work for the state's Republican leadership, quote, creates a conflict. The court also had objections to the other two picks and ordered Republicans to submit 3 new nominees. For more on this, I want to bring in CBS News political reporter Aaron Navarro. Aaron, welcome. Great to see you. So let's start with Nevada. Tell us a little bit about Nevada's new congressional map. What exactly is going on there?
Hi, Tanya. Thanks for having me. So in Nevada, 2 Democratic incumbents that have been targeted in recent years, Steve Horsford and Susie Lee, are seeing safer seats in the Las Vegas suburbs and the central part of Nevada. And one reliably Democratic district represented by Dina Titus in the Las Vegas area becomes a bit less Democratic in order to sort of disperse some of those voters to Horsford and Lee. Now, as you mentioned, state Republicans and groups representing Hispanic communities argue that the map unpacks and dilutes Latino neighborhoods in order to get those more safe Democratic seats. Specifically, Nevada's first, represented by Titus, they say is being split up too much instead of being packed in. But also, the state legislative maps here bolster Democrats and increase chances of supermajority in the Nevada Assembly, which could come in handy for Democrats for the next cycle redistricting in 2030.
All right, so let's move to Texas now. What are you hearing about the lawsuit in Texas over redistricting there?
So it's not looking too likely that it will get anywhere. Since the passing of the Voting Rights Act, Texas hasn't gone a decade without being sued over the redistricting, but there hasn't been a clear case where that was obviously successful for the challenger. You see congressional candidates fully adapting to the new maps. Democrats Vicente Gonzalez and Lloyd Doggett are now running in different seats now and moving districts. So that gives a sense that they're not too confident some massive change will come from the courts. But there's a handful of suits in Texas, specifically from groups representing Hispanic voters, like the Mexican American Legislative Caucus and Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund. Time will tell where this goes, but historically there hasn't been any cases that changes things right away. And if it does get anywhere, the best case is a new remedial map ordered by the court that could ask for more majority Latino seats to reflect the demographic growth in the state. Now, these maps do go into effect in January, so expect to see a lot more court action in the coming weeks.
Now, are all these redistricting battles that we're seeing play out right now considered normal? When you look back to 2010, was the same sort of activity happening then?
So similarly, one Democrat told me that this was just version 2 of what Republicans did in 2010. But, given the new technology and how the demographics evolved in the 2010s, Republicans are being a bit more precise, targeted, and quote unquote smarter with taking competitive seats off the map for their advantage. I think in 2010, Republicans even will acknowledge they may have overreached in trying to draw out Democrats and didn't take into consideration the demographic growth that would happen in red states like Texas or Georgia that would play out in that decade. This time it seems that they're more focused on protecting Republican seats and taking competitive seats off the map, even if that means shoring up or packing a Democratic seat here or there. Granted, there are states like Illinois, North Carolina, and Ohio who are looking to repeat their gerrymandered maps from 2010 or go even further and risk court action in this decade.
And so far, when you look at everything that's been happening in the lead up to 2022, does it appear that Republicans or Democrats are setting up the upper hand in terms of redistricting?
So I will say we have a lot more states to go, but Republicans did come in with the upper hand in terms of control over drawing lines. They fully control redrawing in 187 House seats compared to 75 seats for Democrats. But so far, and as I said, we have a lot of states to go, Republicans have maintained that upper hand. They have a potential net gain of 3 to as high as 5 seats from the states that have fully passed so far. But I will note many Democratic states, such as Maryland, New York, New Jersey, Even California, which has an independent commission in charge, still have to finalize their maps. And Democrats there could go on offense and try to offset any losses that Republicans have created. So by the end of this, it could be a bit of a wash, but House Republicans have acknowledged that their advantage alone won't flip the House for them, but it does, quote unquote, raise the floor by shoring up incumbent seats that otherwise would have been competitive in the past decade.
Right. And so then what are some of the next states' maps that you're waiting to see? Which ones should we be watching out for?
Yeah, so I think even today, Georgia released a draft of their proposed map, and that kind of takes out Lucy McBath in the 6th district there. I'm watching to see what happens with commissions in Michigan and Virginia. As you mentioned, Virginia, that process has gone to the state Supreme Court, and that was part of the plan. That was a fail-safe for if the Citizen Commission couldn't compromise, which they did not. Georgia and Ohio are expected to wrap up their maps this week, or at least by Thanksgiving. And especially in Ohio, where that could be a 13-2 split in favor of Republicans. I'm also watching those Democratic states that remain, especially New York and California, could see some incumbent versus incumbent matchups once the maps are passed. And Florida, which I've been told could be the last big state that could wrap up by the beginning of next year.
All right, Aaron Navarro, thank you so much for keeping us up to date on these important congressional maps. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Tanya.